me immense pleasure to be here today to share mine and ViNet's experience in a very relevant and important topic today, which is digital infrastructure to future-proof your business. Now it is becoming glaringly important that all organizations, be it small, be it big, of any size and scale, must have a good digital infrastructure in place or use digital tools not just as a good-to-have feature, but as a prerequisite to scale. Now, let me take you down the memory lane. 24th March 2020. This was the day Nepal government declared a nationwide lockdown in response to the deadly COVID-19 virus. So what was initially provisioned to be 2 weeks became a 3-month-long ordeal. People were inside their homes, confined within their 4 walls, gripped with fear and anxiety, and were glued to one tool. And that is, what were we glued to? We all were glued to the internet. Now, the internet brought some semblance of normalcy to our lives. It kept us connected, it kept us informed, it kept us entertained. Now, as a service provider of this very multifaceted and fundamental tool, you can imagine the pressure on the internet service provider as ViNet. The pressure was insurmountable. It was a logistical and an operational nightmare, at least for the first couple of weeks. Both our customers and our employees were gripped with fear. Our staffs were not allowed to move out of their house and were allowed to return back by their neighbors or their landlords for the fear of spreading the virus. Our vehicles were not allowed to move in the streets. I mean, we were just given 10 vehicular passes. And normally on any given day, we have more than 300 vehicles moving around our cities. So just 10 as against 300. So our staffs would be held up by the police. We still went ahead with our internet sign on our vehicles, and our staff would be held for hours. Every day came with new challenges, and every day we forged ahead. Now, this pandemic has been a bittersweet experience for us. Bitter, of course, because some of us have been affected. We have even lost our near and dear ones. Sweet, because it really gave us an opportunity to look inside of, to look at our own internal processes and our systems. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we took pride in being a digital company. We were the early adopters of online payment in Nepal. We used Zoom much before the pandemic. We have an online ERP system, a state-of-the-art call center, and everything, blah, 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 and blah. And then COVID-19 happened, and we realized that we were digitally aware, but not really digitally driven. An insight into our processes, it made us realize that it was a cocktail of digital and manual interventions. The processes were departmentalized, compartmentalized, and paper-based. So when you are hit in a pandemic and you really have to survive, and I get a lot of that. It's like, what do you mean ISPs has to survive the pandemic? You guys are there. You guys are the only thing that's flourishing. And yes, we've been one of the fortunate ones to have our business going, but with all your enterprise and SMEs business dwindling down, and your cost of your bandwidth increasing by more than 30% because everybody was online 24/7, with your staff away from your premises, and they've gone homes due to parental pressure or elsewhere. And 8 to 10% of your consumers just evaporated from the system. They just went out of your network. Probably they went back to their villages. So you are again impacted in the same way that other businesses are. So it gave us a time to look at our challenges, and we quickly compartmentalized our challenges into these 4 quadrants: customer engagement, human resource management, cash flow management, and network resource management. And we realized that to address these concerns or to survive this pandemic, it would be impossible without doing it digitally. We can no longer afford to have manual processes. Now for us, of course, the most important is the customer engagement. Now, again, for us, the most important thing was, how do we reach to our customers? How can we have a better communication with them? How can we engage them? How can we solve their queries promptly when they cannot even visit our outlets? We have more than 50 outlets, and the customers could not come there. So what could we do next? So we quickly increased or made our customer portals and our apps more user-friendly so that customers can take care of most of their needs online, except for when there's a support, or if there's a fiber cut, there's nothing much we can do. We have to send a physical team to mend it. But other things, like you can renew your accounts, you can make your payment, you can change your plans, you can have we have a self-support tutorials there, and basic troubleshooting can be done by the customers themselves. So we then really increased our social media presence. Social media presence means we were already in Facebook, Instagram, and all of that. But then we realized that our apps was not sufficient, because the users, although we were trying to educate our users, we were telling them, you download our app, you can do a lot of service, but then they found it very convenient to call us. Why? Because our apps had to compete with so many other apps on your phone. You have so many important apps going on there, and Vianet as an app has to compete for storage with all the other apps. So what we realized is we need to integrate with other major platforms to be able to give service to our customers. So we quickly integrated with Viber, which is going to come out soon in January 2021, so that the customers can reach us in Viber, have most of their problems solved through Viber, and can even make payments through Viber. So yeah, and then we really ramped up our chat-based support, so that, since the customers cannot come to our outlets, cannot talk to us, they can only talk to us on the phone. But if you have, your phone lines may be busy. If there's an incident, it's very difficult to get through an ISP phone. So what we did was we really, really ramped up our chat-based support, so that, you can find us on Facebook or our website, and then we will have our agents to take care of your queries. And then we, of course, integrated more multiple payment modes. We are already connected to most payment partners, but then again, we connected to your debit cards, credit cards, all the cards providers also, so that people can easily make payments. And entertainment was one of the major things that kept us going during the pandemic. So we have a Via TV platform, and then we add a lot of content there so that people could use their time during the pandemic. The second was operations and human resource management. Now, some of the decisions that we took before the pandemic really came handy during this time. So we have a call center system which can be operated from people's homes. So most of your calls right now are being handled by our agents at the comfort of their home. So if you see here, you see a gentleman who is very comfortable in his home. He has his heater on there. He's pretty warm. He's probably somewhere in Butwal receiving your calls. So that really gave us the flexibility to handle customer calls from anywhere. Our agent could be anywhere. They could be in Butwal, they could be in Biraknagar, they could be in Jolak Hill. So this functionality really made it possible when our staff could not come to our office premises to handle calls. During the pandemic, except for the field staff, we were all working from home. Even today, 60% or more of our staff are working from home in our portal. Another major challenge for us was our field staff. So normally what happens is, they come, they have a job order, they come to the office in the front in the first hour, they probably go to a warehouse to get their goods, and then they go to the respective places, then come back again in the day end, and then settle their warehousing requirements, all that they have to do. So that was really a problem, because that would really contaminate, especially during the pandemic, that would really contaminate all the workforce. So we had to quickly think of a way that we get our work done and we restrict the spread, even if there is, to the maximum of 4 people. So normally our branches, if you see where we operate, our warehousing normally handles 100 people kind of a warehouse. And now we had to bring that down to just 4. So that really required us to really think through our process, to really break the manual barrier and then directly just focus on what needs to be done. And that came in really handy was we developed an app-based solution for the field-based workers. So normally what happens is when an order is there or a support task is there, it gets popped up in the fiber team technicians app, and one of them can go to the warehouse, get the things, and they will just dispatch everything, all the work that they have to do will be done through the app in itself. And they don't have to come back. At the end of the day, everything is consumed. All the goods are consumed, and if there is any residue, they keep it with themselves, and then come back the next day and do it. So what was 100 people coming to a warehouse, we could really restrict that on a time slot and make the exposure to only 4. So that really helped us in increasing our productivity. The time spent on people coming to the office, taking the goods, going out, coming back in the evening, and again submitting the details. And by eradicating the whole process, we increased our throughput. So today, all our recruitments, all our meetings, even our trainings, we were doing 5 to 7 meetings a day in our training hall. Right now, everything is digital. And what we realized is, of course, there will be some miscreants who will be trying to get away from the system. But what we realized is having an online system or people working from home actually increased the productivity of our employees. And so that was a very, very good learning that we had there. Another was the cash flow management. When the pandemic hit us, for 3 weeks, we extended everybody's internet account so it would not get disabled because of non-payment. And after the 3rd week, we have operations to run. Your bandwidth is increasing because people are using it day in and day out. You have your points of presence that we call them, or base stations that need to be fueled, that need to be checked. So cash flow was a major concern. Before the pandemic, online was one of the options for the customers. They could offer an online payment. But during the pandemic, it became the only option. It became the only option. Even today, it is the most preferred option. Now, although our outlets are all open, but it is still the most preferred option. We see online payments increased by almost 25%. So today, for Environet, more than 75% of our collections, of our payments, are received through online media, vis-a-vis 50% what it was earlier. And we have actually partnered with all the banks. We are connected to all the banks via Connect IPS. Our payments to our vendors are now not done manually via checks. We are now doing it from the Connect IPS. So our account staff or our finance staff does not need to come to the office, prepare checks. It's all done remotely from the comfort of people's houses. Another major challenge for us was the network resource management. What happened during the pandemic is, obviously, everybody was at home. Everybody was, using it for various tools. Some were using it for entertainment, some for news, some for education. So the bandwidth that you consume increased by almost 30 to 40%. And primarily because of these applications like TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. There's a particularly interesting case about TikTok. Now, in an ISP, on a day-to-day basis, we normally monitor our traffic. So we look at, which which application is consuming most traffic. And before the pandemic, we realized that TikTok was something, which was growing in that traffic. People were really interested in TikTok, and we saw that, there's this new application, TikTok, which is gaining momentum. And boom, during the pandemic, TikTok goes shh. Everybody was in TikTok. Everybody wanted to use TikTok. Now, for an ISP, I don't want to get into the details of how an ISP manages its traffic. The closer the content is, the better will be the experience. So we have TikTok, Facebook servers, YouTube servers in Nepal, hence the performance is better. Now for TikTok, TikTok was not in Nepal. TikTok had something in Nepal, but then, they changed their protocol. And the traffic that was coming from, let's say, India was coming all the way from Mexico. So every time somebody had to do a TikTok video, had to go all the way to Mexico and come back to Nepal. So that was consuming a lot of our international bandwidth. We eventually had to find these Chinese guys from TikTok and say, either you send us a servers or we have to take some drastic step, to the extent of maybe limiting TikTok in Nepal. So eventually we worked things out. So what was important then was to digitally monitor and to catch trends so that we can act before it actually happens. Had we had those tools, had we realized that, TikTok is something that's gaining momentum, and then analyze the industry trends, maybe the ISPs of Nepal could have acted earlier. We didn't have such AI and BI tools to really anticipate where the traffic is growing, and we ended up actually losing a lot of money on that TikTok. And of course, the network readiness, although our traffic increased, we were able to manage that surge in bandwidth, that surge in capacity. We had some level of network readiness so that we could serve our customers. But again, the ISPs here, including Vianet, lack that intelligence to actually predict what the growth is going to be like. Because in internet, it's not like any other thing. One application can become a hit overnight, and people can start using it. And everything is coming via the internet. So that means that you cannot predict what's going to happen. So for us, it is very, very important that we had those tools that we could actually predict. Right now, we are working on these tools to actually predict some kind. You cannot really predict everything on the internet, but at least some kind of trend and analysis so that in the future, we can be better prepared for our network upgrades and readiness. So for us, this pandemic has been a really big learning in how we do our own business. And we really had to really go back to the drawing board. What we have to understand is Vianet is a 20-year-old company, so we have a legacy processes in our systems. So this pandemic really gave us an opportunity to look at it with fresh eyes and start a debate saying, what if an ISP was started today? What would the process look like? What would it be like? Would it be what we had? And there's a lot of buzz about digitalization, that we have to digitalize. And of course we have to. But we have to digitalize in the right way. Digitalize does not mean that you put the manual process back on the computer, and that does not become digitalization. Digitalization really happens when you can really, really decrease or eliminate the operational efficiencies that you have in your existing system. Otherwise, you'll just take the operational inefficiency that you have from the manual and you just again put it back on the computer again. What purpose does that solve? It doesn't solve anything. So we really had to look at cross-functionals and not at departments. We had to look as a function and then really, really break down the silos, really, really break the hierarchy chain. Today, what we say in Vianet is, if an agent is posed with a task more than 10 times in a day, that means that agent should be empowered to solve it. It should not go up to the supervisor, up to the manager, up to the managing director. No, because the customer is not going to wait for that solution. Customer wants it now. So if any agent is posed with that problem more than 10 times, that is an indication that that has to be automated and that has to be empowered. So we have to really, really debunk the rank and hierarchy within our own organization and empower the people who are frontline. Of course, system and process automation, that is the DNA of our company. We believe in system and automation. We believe, like I said, any task that you repeatedly do has to be automated because it has to create value. And you either create value by increasing your revenue or reducing your cost or enhancing your customer experience. And if it's doing all three of that, then you've hit the nail. But then your automation has to serve and create value. Otherwise, there's no point in doing automation. Just because you're doing automation does not mean you're creating value. So you have to really, really look at your task to create value. Another is, what we learned is we have to get everyone on board, right? Especially, like I said, for a 20-year-old organization, you will have resistance from people. You will have people saying, no, this is not going to work because, people get insecure. Some roles will be chopped off. But then we have to really educate why we are doing certain things from ground zero to up, so that they all participate in that process of digitalizing your business or your process or your functionality. So for us, the key thing and the key challenge was to get everyone on board and to everyone say, okay, yes, this is a function. Okay, I don't need to be a part of this, because that function before digitalization, I'm sure somebody was doing it. And after that, the person does not have that thing to do. So for them to get on board and say, okay, maybe if this, I don't have to do this, I will now think of doing something else. And they always find something else to do, right? So, I mean, for me, that was a miracle, because I thought, if this is not going to do, what is this guy going to do? And we always found something else, something better to do with our resource. Of course, major learning for me and for ViaNet during the pandemic has been cybersecurity. Unfortunately for us, we were hacked. There was a data breach incident that took place in ViaNet during the pandemic, somewhere around March and April. So what we realized is, when you are digitalizing your business, most important thing is to not overlook cybersecurity. It has to be a part of the process. It cannot be a separate department which is looking into security. It has to be embedded in your system. For us, a breach happened from an unused app. So there was an iOS app, and in that app, we didn't do much of a development, but it was just there, lying around, right? A lot of the other developments took place in other apps. So somebody got into our system and hacked it. So we then realized is that, when you are creating a process or an app or an application, like the introduction is important, the disposal of the same should also be embedded in the process. Otherwise, you don't know. In the internet, in the cyber, you have no idea where the attacks are coming from. At least in the back days, when the war is happening, they're going to come right in front of you or behind you, but here you don't know. So it has to be a part of your system, because customer information is very, very important and vital, especially for us, especially for an organization like us where people use your tool for so many different purposes, your work, your life, your payments, everything. You are now trying to do it from the net. So for that, for us, it's very, very important that we have this cybersecurity as a part of our process. And the biggest learning for me and for ViaNet is, we could hire and retain the best talent from anywhere. We could hire from anywhere. And then retain our best staff. We had a new mother who wanted to spend time with her family. If it was before the pandemic, I would have to say, if you want to spend time with your family, you may have to leave the job. But now she has the option to take care of her child from home and still attend the calls or still do her task. I can still hire a brilliant coder from Bhairava attending to his ailing mother which would not have been possible otherwise. Or hire a Romanian software programmer who is very quick at coding. So for us, this pandemic has been the biggest lesson in breaking down the geographical barriers. Now coming to what is our vision at ViaNet? What do we want? We want a truly integrated system that functions across all IT supply chain. And when I mean all IT supply chain, it means that your consumer is going to be there in the form of an application. They will be on their phones, on their laptops. Tomorrow, everything is going to be internet enabled. The future is everything is going to be internet enabled. Like, everything is now electricity enabled, right? We see a light, it is electricity enabled. I speak on a phone, microphone, it is electricity enabled. The future, everything is going to be internet enabled. So for that, all the devices has to talk to each other, communicate with each other in a safe and truly integrated manner. So for our vision is when IoT of things becomes a reality, we should be truly prepared to have a seamless transition. Another is what we are currently working on is to use artificial intelligence and business intelligence so that we can better serve our customers. I would like to imagine a day when the customer portal of the customer says, you've been using too much internet, or 6 or 7 devices are connected to the internet. The current package you are taking is not sufficient. Would you like to upgrade to a new package? Or something like, last month you've been away for a lot of time. You've subscribed to a higher package. Looks like you don't need that much internet. Maybe you can subscribe to a lower package. Or in an IPTV, they say, you like, let's say, superhero movies. So maybe I can give you more superhero movies content. So we would like to integrate AI and business intelligence so that we can better serve our customers, provide better support. I would love to have an AI that can, predict which customer is going to have a support before even the customer knows. Yeah? So that would really add value in saying, okay, you know what? Your connector at the back of the router seems to be loose. Would you please tighten it? And imagine your ISP calling you beforehand and saying that before you experience a bad and faulty internet. So our vision is to really build those softwares, build those systems, so to make that possible in the future. Now, why even digitize? I'm sure a lot of speakers today have spoken about why we should digitize, why it is important. And I'm not going to go into the detail of why you should, but the number one reason why you should is your industry is open for disruption. Any industry that you are in today will be open for disruption. We've seen with Airbnb, we've seen with Uber doing that with transportation, we've seen Nokia's and Kodak go kaput. So we know that any industry today, no matter what you are, no matter even the industry we are in today, is open for disruption. So that is why it is very, very important that you have a very lean and a very clean system of customer service and delivery so that when there is a change, you can act upon it very, very quickly. Of course, I don't want to get into detail about how it improves your efficiency and reduces your cost. That's the reason why we do digitize, right? And of course, why it is important is more than 500 million of the world population now has internet. If you look at the context of Nepal, more than 5 million people have access to internet. We have mobile phone penetration more than our population, 147% I read yesterday. So that means, where do you look for your customers? Where should you go to look for your customers? They're all there in your palm. Your customers are not in the neighborhood, in the next state, next province. They're right there in your palms. So the faster you can reach to them, the more relevant you will be. So that is the reason why you should digitalize and be there. So in the end, I think the picture itself is self-explanatory. Why we should digitalize. because the future is there. If you're not doing it already, you're already maybe a little too late. So the right time to start digitalization is now. Look at your processes, look at your business, look at your target groups, and start doing it now. Thank you.